what do you think of Edi Rama? What do you think about the last, is it 10 years he's been Prime Minister now, 2.5 mandates? What's your view? You can speak freely here, so...
I know. Look, I like Eddie. I worked with him when I was on the Council of Europe more than 10 years ago, and he was fighting the mammoth election fraud that was going on. And I went to see him, and he showed me figures which instantly I could recognize as somebody who's elected himself and sat there looking at results coming in my own country, my own results, that something absolutely criminal had taken place. So I mobilized support for him, and he's a larger-than-life character. He features in a new book that won the European Book of the Year prize, awarded in Brussels last December. I sit on the committee that organizes that, and it's a book by a Austrian writer called Robert Menas. I hope it's translated into Albanian soon. It's in French and German. And the character of Edi Rama is given another name, but he's a prime minister of Albania, educated in France, plays basketball, larger than life.
Could only be one person.
and it's dear old Eddie. And I think he speaks a lot of common sense, and he speaks in several languages. He's a larger-than-life, real old Balkan personality, but on the whole, with his instincts are in the right direction.
And I mean, aside from domestic politics, and I've said this to him, I've said, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm not always a fan of things you've done domestically, but I like what you do, how you present and how you represent Albania outside Albania. He's brought EU summits to Tirana, the Western Balkan summit to Tirana. He's given very good speeches in Brussels, which has really rightly criticised the European Union, the European Commission. So I like this about him. Now, actually, this week it was announced he is bringing Zelensky to Tirana. There's going to be a Ukraine peace summit here. Do you think he's, and I asked him, I said, are you maybe looking for a job in international diplomacy sort of after you finish? And he was like, no, I'm tired. I'm not quite sure I believe him. Do you think all his attempts, everything he's doing internationally is to bolster Albania, or because maybe he has aspirations for something bigger later?
Well, it's up to him. All I'd say is that guys who are dynamic prime ministers, and Eddie certainly is, who then go become international foreign policy bureaucrats, quickly start getting white hair and bent backs because international foreign policy, diplomacy, technocratic deal-making is just so exhausting and difficult and hard and pretty often boring. So I think Eddie's much better as a larger-than-life character. He speaks excellent French, as we know. He painted Tirana in wonderful colours. He's got good, clear answers when I see him on television in Britain. It's great that he's bringing Zelensky. Also, some elements of Edi Rama. I mean, Zelensky was a comedian. He was a star of Ukrainian showbiz, and he knows how to make a dramatic impression when he's addressing the U.S. Congress or the Houses of Parliament in Britain.
The two
and
together.
He's fighting a very important. He's fighting a very big fight against a very bad man. Because the history of Europe of the last, nearly 30 years, is of Russia rejecting the European path, insisting it can be a nationalist, authoritarian, autocratic country. It's the same status as the United States or China. It isn't. Other great countries after 1945, like France, Germany, not Hitler's Germany, Britain accepted. They weren't world powers, and they adjusted accordingly. Mr. Putin still thinks that Russia is a world power. It's not. It's dangerous, and it's doing such damage to the great people of Russia, who are incredibly one of the great nations of Europe and the great peoples of Europe, and they should also be part of the European community of nations, in my view.